Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the show. This is Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Jokari Miller. So basically, I want to get right into this. This is, I'm not going to do a long resume. This is only a 30-minute show. But I am, for those who've seen my Instagram or my Twitter or Facebook, you know I am what I call ethical scientist / ethical engineer, and I am mainly into robotics engineering, but also consulting dealing with artificial intelligence and nanotechnology. I'm also a physics enthusiast. That's not my specialty. As a matter of fact, my buddy Boston, shout out to Boston out there. I'm going to have him do a future show with me on dealing with physics. This is actually the same topic. So today, we won't go into physics. We'll leave that as a separate, that'll be a separate show. So, let's get into this. Today's topic is mainly dealing with some of the implications and ethical concerns that I had dealing with artificial intelligence, robotics, nanotechnology, and medical research. And the reason why I did this topic is something that we really not, in the black community, black and brown communities, the poor communities, we're not really putting any kind of effort or any kind of focus on this area. And this is really the main area we need to really be focusing on. All of this other stuff, like with the election and all of that, like that's what they call a red herring. It's a distraction. You know, in the art of war, they say make a noise in the east and strike in the west. And right now, you know, they making a noise in the east by having us focus on all the stuff dealing with elections and politics and, you know, electoral politics. I mean, I'm not saying don't give any kind of energy to that, but, you know, you must know some of the stuff that we're going to get into today is really what we really need to be putting some more focus into. All right, so let's look at this. Now, robotics is kind of self-explanatory. Robotics, we're talking about machines, a robot, something that can do a task, even if that task is just to maybe make people happy or laugh, but that's really not the robotics that we'll be speaking about today. What is nanotechnology? So nanotechnology, we talking about, in the context that we'll be talking about it today, we talking about machines that are literally the size of 1/1000th of a meter. Machines that are at least 1/1000th of a meter small. So, I mean, this is that's some pretty dangerous technology there. I don't even know if are we online here? Can this be heard? I don't know. Let me make sure. So if I have to, I will disconnect the speaker. All right, so maybe this is a little bit better. And I will disconnect the Bluetooth. So there we go. All right, mic check, mic check. So when we're talking about artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, robotics, and nanotech, we're talking about machines that are literally 1/1000th of a meter. That's so small you can't see it with a microscope. You have to have special equipment in order to see this. And they have machines. They're getting much better with this as far as the type of machines that they can create. And we're gonna get into that. But that's basically what it is, just to give you a quick summary of it. Artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is really sort of like it's more of a generic term. What we're talking about, you have for argument's sake, we'll just focus it on the ANI, which is artificial narrow intelligence, and ASI, artificial super intelligence. So the artificial intelligence that we're speaking of, that is the dangerous artificial intelligence that everyone has been Hollywoodized to, which honestly is plausible, a lot of plausible scenarios in some of those movies. But ASI, artificial super intelligence. So we're talking about machines that are exponentially larger as far as the speed and the efficiency, faster than human, or smarter, as some people would like to say. So what's dangerous about this is, you know, we're talking about machines that literally will be faster, can store more information than all humanity, that has already lived, is living now, and probably will live, you know, for a very long time. I mean, you know, you have to really understand this. So I just give you an example. Google they have a computer, they have a deep mind program, and out of that deep mind program, you've had a number of different breakthroughs. One of which is AlphaGo. AlphaGo, Go is an ancient game that's like 2,500 years older than chess. A lot of times it's compared to chess because you have white and black pieces, and it's a game that's representative of war strategy. But chess and Go are like, oh man, that's like two completely different things. So I just give you an example. With chess, you got, like, in the first opening move, you have like 20 by 20 moves. We talking about like maybe 400 possibilities. Well, compare that with the ancient game of Go. In the first move, you're talking about 361 by 360 moves, possible opening moves. When we talking about for the first move, that's like, oh man, like 129,960 moves. Now that's been reduced to like 32,490 moves, possible moves. But still, we talking about, compared to 400 possible moves, that's a lot. Now look at the just the possible moves in chess versus Go, period. Well, we talking about 1,000,000 trillion more configurations than chess. Now let me say that again, because I'm not just throwing out some random number. I'm serious. 1,000,000 trillion, 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 trillion more configurations than chess. So chess is like similar to like fighting one battle. Chess is similar to fighting one battle, and if you're in a war and you have like one battle you fight. And move my sign here, make sure don't nobody taking my books. With Go is representative of a multi-front war. As a matter of fact, Go can really be looked at as multiple wars, fighting multiple wars simultaneously. So you have AlphaGo, which is Google's computer, which has beaten all the top Go players. Now let me explain the danger in that, because a lot of people probably thinking like, oh well, you know, what's the big deal? Well, chess is expected for a computer to be able to win at chess, because chess is based strictly on logic, math, probabilities, stuff like that. Well, with Go is partly based on math and some logic, but the majority of Go strategy is based on just human feeling and intuition. So I'll give you an example. When you ask like the top Go players after they win a match, what made them make their last move, their winning move, or the last series of winning moves, they'll usually not really be able to explain to you. They say it's just the feeling they had. It's just, you know, it's the intuition they had. Well, that's Go. So now you have computers that have the ability to do that. So we're going to move forward from that. I just wanted to give you like an example, or a quick explanation of it. So let's get into that. All right, so you have a couple examples here. Boston Dynamics. Boston Dynamics, that's a company, it's a robotics company that was, it came out of, a lot of the research came out of, or still comes out of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I actually took a online class at MIT, computer science class. So we're talking about a robotics company that Google purchased. They were a small robotics company. Google purchased them. Immediately they got contracts with the military, with DARPA. Now, DARPA, that's the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. This is the science division of the military. That's all they do, is come up with all of that super science stuff that you see in really in science fiction. Trust me when I tell you, they're working on everything you can think of. All right, including time machines. We're not even going to get on that today. That's not today's topic. So they have a contract to mass produce, make these robotic soldiers and other military robots. Some of them are rescue robots, but the same robots you can use to rescue something that's strong enough to rescue somebody is strong enough to kill somebody also. They have these robot dogs, and if you ever get a chance to, I want you to go online and look these up. I mean, these things are devastating. It's devastating, you know, how scary these things are and how they move and how fast they move. We're talking faster than the stuff you saw in Terminator, in the movies. We're talking faster than that, stronger than that. So, I mean, it's very real. You know, it's very real what we're dealing with. Also, let's look at this. Some of the pros and cons of nanotechnology. Or let's actually look at some of the pros and cons of robotics. So in robotics, you know, some of the good things that can be done with robotics You're talking about like paraplegic and quadriplegics. You know, they have the technology right now that paraplegics and quadriplegics can actually walk again. Prosthetic hands and arms and legs, stuff like that. Driver assistant. Those are some things that we know that's, you know, that's pretty solid. But when you start talking about like your military robots and, you know, robotic soldiers and robot drone swarms and stuff like that, you know, that's the problem. So nanotech, I really want to get into nanotech. Now, nanotechnology is some good applications for nanotech. You have curing of diseases, viruses and bacteria. Like I'll give you an example. Like right now, the technology exists through nanotech to cure all STDs, to cure all forms of cancer, diabetes, dementia, Alzheimer's, and even aging. You know, that's a big thing. You got this guy out of Google, Kurzweil. Look him up. Like that's his big thing, man. Is trying to cure aging. But see, my thing is this. You know, with all of the good things that they can do with nanotech. Let's be real, y'all. They're not giving none of that stuff to the black and the brown communities or the poor communities in general. You know, but definitely not the black and the brown communities, okay? They're not giving us that stuff. We're not going to get the good nanotech, no. You know, as a matter of fact, I was looking up something on nanotech in particular. So I found this organization. It's an ethics organization. So what they deal with, it's out of Cal Poly. Now, here's some of the things that they say about nanotech. Some of the health issues, some of the environmental issues, privacy, terrorism, society. So health, and I'm going to go with this quick. Health, it says nanoparticles have been shown to be absorbed in the liver of research animals and even cause brain damage in fish exposed to them after just 48 hours. Okay, and they go on with that. Environmental. If nanomaterials really are as strong as diamonds, how decomposable or persistent are they? That's another issue, and they go deeper into that. Privacy, and this one is one that really will affect the black community. So it says, as products shrink in size, eavesdropping devices too can become invisible to the naked eye and more mobile, making it easier to invade our privacy. Terrorism. Capabilities of terrorists go hand in hand with military advances. So as weapons become more powerful and portable, these devices can also be turned against us. Now, I'm not going to get into it, but y'all know who's been terrorizing black and brown people for a long time. So I mean, we're not even going to go there. Society, it says, with all the potential abuses of nanotech, many experts advocate a strong system to regulate and monitor nanotech development. So I'm not the only one speaking about this. You know, now this is out of Cal Poly. Cal Poly now. And you can look that up for yourself. So basically, you know, to sum this up, you know, I mean, it's, man, nanotech, AI, robotics, you know, medical research, with all the good that it could do, I doubt that it will. If we look at the past and, you know, look at stuff like the Tuskegee experiment, you know, and you got many different, you know, you got many different entities that's working on this. So let's just think about something. They got, like, you know, facial recognition, teamed up with artificial intelligence, and they're using that to racial profile. Now imagine that in the future, how, you know, being on just a vehicle stops, how they'll be able to efficiently see you at night and all of that, where they know, you know, who to stop. And they're pretty good at it now. But just imagine efficient machines being able to do this. You know, the Human Genome Project in genetics, where they can target groups of people with a certain racial or ethnic background. You know, DNA editing, how DNA editing, I mean, you know, we've seen over time how they put a lot of people away claiming DNA evidence, and then they were exonerated. Well, imagine the day that comes where they can actually take your DNA, which actually we there. They already had a DNA editing. So, I mean, you know, and then you got stuff like the LRAD device, long range acoustic device. You know, this is something that they're using right now. Police department, it was developed by the Marine Corps, but police departments all over the country are using this, all over the world. It's a device that it creates these sonic waves or acoustic waves to take away your will of fight. And they use them against riots, you know, crowds and crowd control and stuff like that. So imagine that times 1 trillion with the innovation that's going on now. And you got different agencies. You got, like, of course, I mentioned DARPA, you know, they're working on this stuff, but also you got like every government, you know, that has any kind of budget, they're working on this stuff. You got many corporations like Google and Amazon and Microsoft and Apple and all of a lot of the tech corporations working on this stuff. You got a lot of this stuff being ran out of universities, and companies and governments teaming up with universities to make this stuff. But also, one I want to draw your attention to, you got some white supremacist groups they've gotten smarter, and they move into areas like computer programming and security and robotics and nanotech and AI. And you know, you got engineers with malicious intentions going to work for these companies like Google and Microsoft, and going to work for these governments, and getting involved in some of these science and tech projects. You know, they had an issue. You just look at some of the news stories that are out there. There's plenty of news about the subject, this topic. If you just type in Google racist AI, you know, you have articles, is artificial intelligence racist? That's in Tor's data science. The Verge, Twitter, the headline reads, Twitter taught Microsoft's friendly AI chatbot to be racist asshole in less than a day. Here's another article. AI can be sexist and racist. It's time to make it fair. Here's another article. Tacoma convenience store, facial recognition AI is racist nightmare. Here's one in the Black Enterprise magazine. Artificial intelligence and algorithms, 21st century tools for racism. So this goes on, and they got an article in here about China, how they created racist AI to track Muslims. So I mean, it is a lot of information out here about this, and you know, we just really have to be on guard. Overall, all of this stuff is just a way to make it easier and make it more efficient to counter an insurgency or counterinsurgency. What I mean by that, to stop any kind of protest, to stop any kind of insurrection. You know, they're using innovation and technology to stop the very thing that created this so-called America. Remember, America was built on a group of people feeling like they were oppressed, even though they were oppressing whole other groups of people. But they felt like as if they were oppressed by the king, and, you know, long story short, bam, revolution. And they're trying, I guess they had that still in their psyche, and they're saying, you know what? We're going to make it so, even though we had a revolution, we're going to make it so you can't have a revolution. So this is like some of the concerns that I have. And we can stop this, we can stop this, but it takes education. It takes us right now to be educating our children. It should be a subject, a mandatory subject in schools on these issues, these topics, understanding artificial intelligence and robotics and nanotechnology and even space exploration. That's another topic for another day, as far as terraforming or planetary engineering. So I'm talking about a lot of this stuff. I got an upcoming book. It's called Techno Victims: The Negative Impact of Robotics, Nanotechnology, and Artificial Intelligence on Black and Brown People. That's coming out. It'll be on Amazon. It'll be all over. We got 5 minutes left. I want to take calls. If it's any callers out there, you can call in at 515-602-9640. I don't really expect to get any callers, but you never know. This is my first show. I'm not even sure about the technical, any kind of the technical logistics on how to do this. This is Blog Talk Radio. That's why I have a backup. I'm actually taping this right now. And so, yeah. But check that out. So what that book is about is kind of self-explanatory. Basically explores how lack of ethics in science and technology research and development, combined with good old-fashioned racism, will usher in a new era of efficient repression and counterinsurgency in the Black and brown communities across the globe that J. Edgar Hoover would have marveled at. So that is the topic. We got 4 minutes here, and like I said, so you guys, you need to do some research on this subject. Take a moment away from, partying and BSing and talking about irrelevant news. Some of it is, only partially relevant compared to this topic. Take some time out to look some of this stuff up, because it's really about to affect us in ways that you can't even imagine. As if it wasn't enough that we dealt with, a racist or, a racist person. Imagine having an artificial intelligent racist robot that's much more efficient, faster, stronger. It's insane to even think about this. So it's something we better start, thinking about now, and not just thinking about it, but being proactive on some of this stuff. Just to tell you real quick, in these last 2 minutes, so what I did in order to not just talk about the problem, but to try to come up with solutions, I founded a non-for-profit organization, and I founded a company. So
90 seconds.
So basically, Bright Light AI is a non-for-profit that I founded. It's for the research and development of innovation to put checks and balances on current and future technology, including, but not limited to, artificial intelligence and nanotechnology. And also, I created Uganda Robotics. So Uganda Robotics is research and development in robotic prosthetics and quadriplegic exoskeletons and micro nano robotics that are meant to be of benefit to the people, to our people, black, brown, poor people in particular, because a lot of the good stuff that robotics can be used for, like I said, they don't plan on giving us that. So that's all for today. This show is just about over, and y'all, I will be working on the next show. This is my first show, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please call in next time. Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that.
10 seconds.
And they telling me the 10-second mark. I don't know why they do that. But we are out of here. Next time I'll have some music, an intro and an outro for you. All right.